I'm back again in the same velvety top to talk about wedding planning, but today we're going to talk about catering. First and foremost, the most important thing that you want to start with when you look for a caterer is you want to make sure that they are licensed. Most reception venues will require you to actually show them a license or a copy of a license for any vendor, no matter what they're doing. The only time that they normally kind of change this for you is if it's a preferred vendor, so one that the reception has actually worked with before. They wouldn't necessarily need you to require a license because they probably already have one on file. But otherwise, you definitely want to make sure that a license is something that one, your caterer has, and two, can provide you with so that you can share to your actual reception venue. We had actually talked about this in the last video about receptions, but this is a really important one as well. So if your reception doesn't provide you with the glassware, the silverware, the tableware, right, the dinnerware in general, you can ask your caterer if they can actually provide you with those things. Normally there's a fee that's kind of associated with it. Sometimes there isn't, but it's always good to ask ahead of time, especially if you know that your reception venue doesn't provide you with any of those things. The next thing that you're going to want to ask, and I think that this is actually a really important one that sometimes people forget, is whether or not your caterer will provide you wait staff. So a lot of catering companies, they will probably have their own wait staff, right? And they probably come with their own. But you want to make sure if you're having a big wedding that you know that they have enough staff to actually help you with the amount of people that you're bringing. So the wait staff is definitely one of the more important things that you definitely need to check on, because if you don't, right, that's one of those things that we talk about constantly where it could come in at the end and it could get pricey because you might not have brought it up earlier, and then it becomes a last minute fee that maybe you weren't prepared for. So number 4, and I definitely just said that last one was like the most important, but this one is really the most important. Work with me. You want to see if they can do a taste test with you. So realistically, no caterer is going to turn you away and say that they can't do a taste test with you. It's more specifically about when. So for me, for example, I know that our caterer can work with us. They had 2 dates that we can basically meet with them. I think it was in March and it was in November. Now, obviously things have changed a little bit since the pandemic, but we knew that we had to choose one of those 2 months to do our taste test. That is really what you should be looking for. If there's specific dates, if there's specific time of the month, if you have to schedule that out in advance, is it something that you can schedule out with them? Where do you have to go for it? Do you have to go to a specific place? Can they come to you? Those are all super important things that you should check out beforehand. I think a taste test is one of the biggest ways to make sure that people will actually eat at your wedding, because if you like the food, then other people will probably like it, right? You do want to make sure that you're being super upfront and you want to be totally honest with them when you have this taste test and tell them exactly how you feel about certain things that you can't have, things that people are allergic to, making sure they have vegan and vegetarian options if that's something important for you. So testing the food and finding out a date for testing the food, definitely the most important things that you want to ask right off the bat. So that concludes this episode of things that you should do in wedding planning, caterers edition. Basically, I'm really enjoying making these videos, so I hope that you guys are really enjoying them. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe to the videos if you're enjoying them. Definitely feel free to share with your friends. Hopefully anybody who's wedding planning will find these really helpful. But all in all, stay safe and much love. Gab.